everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is a new video where I'm going to discuss with you 5 useful tips that helped me get through all my 3 exams to my Canadian pharmacist licensure. Come on, let's check out. My very first tip would be to all those who are planning to take the first exam, or some might be planning to prepare for the first exam. So whenever you start something new, you have to get to know what the examination is about, and you have to be thorough with the examining board as well. Go through the website first. You have to get to know the examination pattern, how much is the examination time, and how much is the course. So you have to be very thorough with the examination pattern first. So you can get down, note down into a diary, which I used to do. So it was in my 4th year of PharmD when I started, prepare myself for the Canadian examination. So I took a diary and noted down all the information I wanted. How much is the course? How much? When are the examination coming up? Like in which months the examination are going to be? Then what are the references? I used to keep a diary on that. So the first step would be getting thorough with the examination pattern. My tip number 2 is to be focused. So you have to go through the examination blueprint for each exam. For the evaluating exam, the MCQ and the OSCE, they have each set of blueprint. So you have to be very focused. What the topic areas, what are the examination questions, from where the questions are going to be focused. So being focused is very important in examination. My personal experience, I took 3 to 4 months coaching to remain focused on the exam pattern and the exam questions from which all are the topics that is specific to PEBC examination. So I took coaching for at least 3 to 4 months and remained focused on that specific areas where the topics which are mentioned on the PEBC website. So that's tip number 2. Now, tip number 3 would be being consistent. So I remember myself when I was doing my preparation for the evaluating exam, I was working that time. So it was 8-hour shift. I gave 2 hours after my shift for my evaluating examination. So I remained consistent that days. So evaluating exam, whichever exam it might be, you have to be consistent. Do not procrastinate. I used to do it for MCQ, but do not procrastinate in your exam. So being consistent, very important in every examination after all, right? So you have to be consistent with the timetable that you make. So making a timetable and being consistent is very important in the foreign equivalency exams, especially the PEBC. Tip number 4 would be calculations. The importance of calculations in PEBC is undeniable. So being confident in doing calculations is very important when you prepare for whether it's EE, the first exam, whether it's for MCQ, the second exam, and even in the OSCE as well. You might get questions related to calculations. So if you're confident enough in doing the calculations, you might pass. You will pass, I'm sure. So in my personal experience, I gave almost 50 to 60% in doing calculations than doing the theory part. So we do have patient care questions, for example, and calculations as a separate competency. So if you're confident enough and you can do calculations very well, you can score easy marks, right? So calculations is very important. So work on calculations. I know people are coming, going for the JAN exam. Maybe we have a JAN exam evaluating coming up. So make sure that you are very confident in calculations. Do not skip any calculations. If you are coming across any calculations, do the calculations even if you are, back on the patient care. So calculation is very important. And finally, my tip number 5 would be, I used to get help from study aids. So we do have several study aids that can help in the competency exams. For example, I used to use a study aid called Anki app, in which you can feed something that you fail to memorize easily, and it can memorize yourself whenever you are in bells in canteen. You can revise itself, the topics that you frequently forget. So Anki app is a better app that you can use before each and every exam. Even for the EE, if you want to memorize certain structures in medicinal chemistry, it can make you memorize the equations. So you can use Anki app for the evaluating and even for the MCQ exam, which is your second exam. So Anki app is a better app. And the second study aid that I used was ChatGPT. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to use that while I was doing the EE. But for the MCQ, I used the ChatGPT because whenever I used to read theory a lot, like patient care, we are coming across the therapeutics. So it might be sometimes boring because you are studying it again and again. So it might be boring for you sometimes. So what you can do, you can copy. I used to copy a theory part and paste it in ChatGPT, and I asked ChatGPT for making questions from each line. So ChatGPT helped me get case based. I used to give a command for case-based, patient-based, case-based scenarios, and ChatGPT would reply me back on the case-based scenario examples, and where I can, when I go through a question, it makes me remind of the theory topics that I study. So it was very helpful while I was doing my MCQ. So you can use ChatGPT as well. These were my 5 tips that helped me get through my Canadian pharmacy license examinations, and I'll be coming up with new tips and new information in my coming videos. Please do like, share, and subscribe. Thank you, and see you soon in next video.